Wealth locked in. Hey, so let's jump right into it. We're talking about this trust book today, right? So what I did is I did something a little bit different. I'm gonna show you what it looked like. Let's jump right in and get started. Trust book, 2 sections. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. All right. We got the trust document structure. That's 1 section. And then we got the assembly and management. That's the other section. We're talking about the indenture first. Is at the top. It's not a complete indenture. Sorry if you wanted to see a complete indenture. We may get into that. It'll be a lot of empty space in there though, because you need to fill it in with your information. But just know, at minimum 20 to 30 pages, depending on what kind of trust it is. If it's a holding trust, it may not need that much instructions and stuff like that. But if it's a management trust or something like that, you're gonna need a lot of information. The more details, the better. Remember, this is in your trust book. I'm gonna give you a quick example of what a completed trust indenture or what a completed trust book table of contents look like somewhere in this video. So just stay tuned. Keep watching me here. Trust indenture, length, at least 20 to 30 pages. Initial corpus. Now you guys have heard me talk about the initial corpus a lot. If you're not familiar with the initial corpus, watch this video. But in short, it should list stock certificates, promissory notes, and cash, right? All the original assets, no matter what they are, is considered initial corpus once it's exchanged into the trust. All of these assets put together, they set the trust value, also known as the trust corpus, and it establishes an accounting of the baseline for the trust. How much is the trust worth? Income versus corpse or corpus, right? Income versus corpus. It's a difference. We're going to go over it. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Stay with me. This is the trust book. These are the documents that go in it. These are the sections. I'm showing you right now. Include signature of first trustee. So whoever it is, the first trustee, you can't start the trust without having a trustee. The grantor, trustee, and beneficiaries. You need all 3 of those to start the trust. Legally to start the trust. And you get more trustees later? Yes. More beneficiaries? Maybe not so much, right? You will have to change the whole declaration. We'll get into that. Documents, acceptances of courtesy and protector, and the fee agreements. How much are you paying these trustees? How much are you paying the protector? What are the protector's duties? We'll get into it. We're going to do a whole video on the protector, how to choose one, what they can and can't do, all that good stuff. Duties, descriptions, and legal empowerment proof. Self-explanatory. Duties, description, and legal empowerment proof. These are the documents that the trustees sign. The indenture, the acceptance of trust, the trustee got to sign that. That's proof of empowerment. And you build in the trustee lineage, the date that when they was hired, their resignations, any new trustees. These are all trustee and acceptance and resignation documents. Minutes. You already know you can't do nothing without the minutes. You need to be recording everything that's going on in the minutes. All the decisions about the beneficiaries, about the certificates, about asset transactions and disputes. When I say certificates, we're talking about trust capital units, right? And units of beneficial interest. These are similar to stock certificates. They show who has some type of beneficial interest in the res, also known as the trust corpus. It's legal proof. Resolutions validate trust operations. When it comes down to the come down, where's the documentation proving that you guys talked about this? That's what they're talking about when they talk about resolutions and validation. Starts with the trust minutes, ends with the trust minutes. You can do this. You can set up this private trust and operate privately. Do everything internally. You don't need to ask anyone in the public for anything. Reports to trustee and family history. Includes family history and management reports. Self-explanatory, right? Purpose, preserve knowledge for future generations. Key information, right? Key information, life-changing history of information. Significance, similar to royal family histories of power preservation. Knowing who was a trustee, knowing why they was a trustee, why they got hired, who hired them, what were their responsibilities, what were they watching, what property were they in charge of? Did they increase the trust corpus? It'll be all in the history. Remember, we learn from our mistakes. Having that history lets you identify exactly where you went wrong or where you went right. Original receipts for assets, stocks, notes, and cash, right? This is part of your documentation and asset registers, another section of your trust book. Keep assets brought later in the trust, okay? Important. Key to trust integrity. Decide which documents stay in the trust. Not all paperwork gonna make it to the trust book, but the ones that we're going over right now, These will stay in the trust book and they will be increased as the trust grows. Legal documents, right? We can't avoid legal documents, contracts, agreements, deeds, property transfers. All these things are legal documents, but you didn't have to go nowhere to get them. You created them yourself. That's the beauty of this. Everything is internal. You handle it internally. This is a private trust. This is your business, how you want to operate and how you want to move. If you haven't seen a video on trust documentation, go watch that one. I'm going to link it up here on the card. Go watch that one. It'll tell you exactly about contracts, agreements, deeds, property transfers. We talk in depth about that. And the purpose, of course, is to settle disputes and ensure clear commitments. So if you're supposed to be doing something and we wrote it in black and white, you signed, you need to do that. Whatever that may be, contract, whatever. We signed a legally binding agreement and it's in the trust book. Let me go get my executive secretary to make a copy for you. Just like that. Asset exchange and transfer. Pretty self-explanatory, but letters to trustees requesting acceptance of gifts, transfers, and exchanges. Minutes recording acceptance into trust. A statutory trust, similar letters from transferees. And the purpose of these asset exchanges and transfers is to state reasons for asset placement into the trust. Why is this house in trust? Why is this van or this work truck, or why is this equipment in trust? Why? Well, if the trust owns it, if you operate in a business, the trust owns the equipment that the business uses. Well, now the trust can be paid a rental fee or a leasing fee, which gives the trust legal teeth because it now earns its own income, right? That's how your trust got to be set up. It's got to make its own money. Privacy and government inquiry information. Okay. Educational materials for current and future trustees. Big. You've been running your trust for like a year or two, and now you got a new trustee coming on, or you know that you need some help. Well, now you can compile all of the information from the minutes that you've taken and distill it down into something digestible where it's like a workflow, like a workbook, like an employee book, where you can catch that trustee up on the operations and business dealings of the trust and they could fall right in line, right? It won't take so long for them to understand how the trust grows or what the trust does, how it operates. They'll be able to fall right in. Now, we getting up here to the trust document structure, the last section of this part of the trust book. TCU asset registration. If you don't know what a TCU is, the trust capital unit, we will get into it. It's basically to show, that you have some stake in the business or in the trust usually given to those who exchange property into the trust, right? They get some unit, some capital unit in return for their exchange into the trust. They can, you need to maintain old asset registers after updates. So if for some reason you increase the amount of units in exchange your gets, you need to update it in the book. Require trustee signatures for updates. You have to do this internally. Secretary of State is not doing this. The county clerk is not doing this. Your trustee is doing this. Optional, keep registers from other trusts. You can do that. It's up to you. This is your trust book. You decide what goes in the book and what stays out of the book. But you do need to track all of those other trust registers, whether it's in a book or in its own trust book. Okay? So now we got through this first half, right? Trust document structure. So pat yourself on the back. You know exactly what goes in there. Now let's go to assembly and management, see what's going on in there. Okay, so we got assembly and management, time investment. Assembly takes effort. Self-explanatory. You have to have the time. You have to take your time and put this together. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of writing. And I told you I'm going to show you what the table of contents look like for a trust. Creates a legacy for future generations. That's a fact. Importance of doing it right. Encourages patience, and thoroughness. Got to do it right. Got to take your time. It's not a rush. You got it. Okay? You got it. You're going to have this thing for a long time, at least 2 generations, right? If you set it up that way, it can't operate, for eternity. If there must be an end date, there's a term for it. We'll talk about it. Can't go on forever. And that is it. That's it. So that's the trust book in a nutshell. Now let's look at one. Okay. Initial corpus, you got the banking, you got trustee acceptances and resignations, you have minutes and resolutions, you got family history, financial and asset registers, legal agreements and contracts, proposals and exchanges, administrative and privacy procedures, certificates / TCU registered, insurance, and the IRS original notification of employer identification number. So your EIN. Trust has an EIN. So yeah, you would want to click on this, right? You click on this and it'll take you right to the asset schedule, right? Let's go to a different section. Let's go to acceptances and resignations, right? This is what you will write for the trustee. The trustee would read this and sign. Simple. They agreeing to this. And then you have a board of trustee lineage, names, who they got hired by, what was the date they got hired, right? When they resigned, if they did. What else do we have here I could show? Proposals and exchanges, right? Proposals and exchanges. Minutes of the trustee meeting. Put your name in the trust or the holding trust, like we said earlier, right? Proposal and exchanges. Proposal to exchange property. What they trying to give to get in. If it's a bill of exchange, it's a negotiable instrument. Asset. What does it do? What is it? The description. What's the model number? The date of the exchange. How many? How much they cost? And then a total. Too easy. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can most certainly do this. Now, I'm not going to keep y'all too much longer. It is what it is. I kind of just showed you, what the trust book look like, what the sections are, what goes into each section. Just keep watching the videos. Keep watching this channel. Subscribe if you have not. This is the only channel on YouTube that is going in depth like this, step by step, showing you all of the sections like I just did. Like you're not gonna find, you can type into YouTube right now, a trust indenture or trust book sections. You're not gonna find it. You're not gonna find what I just showed you. You're just not. So that's why you need to subscribe, and then you'll know, right? You'll know. You'll be one step closer to finishing your private trust. And I know you can do it, especially if you're watching this channel. Like no one's breaking it down like me. So we'll see you next time. Peace.